Are you looking to grow your business and increase your brand visibility? Become a sponsor with the Girl Talk Sports Talk podcast. Our sponsorship opportunities offer you a unique chance to connect with our dedicated fan base and community. Let us help you elevate your business name and reach new heights. Contact Melina or Mikayla today to learn more about how you can get involved and make a lasting impact. Join us and watch your business thrive.
Good Monday morning. It is a new week. We are officially on the countdown to Christmas.
Oh God, don't say that. Don't say that. Don't say that
Yeah,
whatsoever. Good
there's 51
morning. It is
days.
Monday morning. Tomorrow, girl, is the day of the day of the day for the year. And we're not gonna know
hmm
answers tomorrow, but tomorrow is a big day in Texas, in the US, in
Yeah.
the
Well, we won't,
world
I
is
feel like
watching.
even if like the election ends, when the election ends, like it's not gonna be over. If Trump loses, like he's gonna throw a hissy fit.
I think it's going to have to be a landslide one way or the other. One way
Yeah,
or the other. It doesn't matter, but I think that's the only way that people
are
don't
gonna
have a lot
be,
of
yeah.
confidence in the system anymore. I mean, they just don't. It doesn't matter what your side you're on. So, anyway, it's Monday morning.
hmm
We guess what though? That what that means on Wednesday. That means on Wednesday we don't have to really see political ads anymore because they'll be gone.
Speaking of political ads, I've been getting texts non-freaking stop, and it is annoying the heck out of me. And it's even worse is like I guess someone from Michigan had my number before me. Mind you, I've had this number for like 10 plus years, I think at this point, and I still get texts from someone in Michigan. I'm
Wow.
like, but I'm
I've
so
had
excited
my phone
to
number for 21 years. 21 years.
I'm I'm just ready for the freaking political election text messages to stop.
Yeah, there's gonna come Wednesday. There's gonna be runoffs in this town. There's gonna be runoffs, there's all of those things, but for the most part, the slamming of each other and these candidates at the local, state, and federal
Yeah.
level will come to a stop. It just breeds, it just, on both
Yeah.
sides, it just breeds, it gives me the it stresses me out because it doesn't have to be like that. It just doesn't. So, yeah. But we made it. Good college weekend, girl. Longhorns didn't lose.
Mm-mm.
Sooners didn't lose.
Yeah,
We
the Sooners
won.
won.
But the Cowboys, once again, I'm in an abusive mental relationship with them fellas. I really am at this point. It is toxic because I didn't even watch. I didn't even watch much. I've been so busy trying to get all my training done for my new job that I focused on that and didn't watch the Cowboys. And I'm kind of glad I didn't spend time being in a negative position, you know?
Yep.
So,
But even though my Longhorns didn't play, we still rose in
which
the
means
rankings.
they lose, which means they didn't lose.
Which true, but we rose in the rankings. All I'm
Yes.
gonna say.
Yes.
So
Yes.
even when we don't play, we win.
And my my Oklahoma is not even still in the
Not
top
in there.
25. So let's kick it off real quick. Oregon Ducks, number one. Georgia Bulldogs, number two. Ohio State, number three. Number four is Miami. Number five, those folks in Austin, the Longhorns.
Let's
Penn
go.
State, they dropped three with their loss. Tennessee is number seven. Number eight is Indiana, which winning rose them 5 spots.
Mm-hmm.
Number nine is BYU. Number 10 is Notre Dame, the Fighting Irish. This is crazy to know that Alabama is number 11.
Mm-hmm.
Boise State. I love Boise State colors because they're just so fun. I remember when they were big a few years back,
Mm-hmm.
um, and they had it. But then number 13 is SMU. Number 14 is LSU. Number 15 is A&M, girl.
Who lost this past weekend
Yes.
to
Yes.
South Carolina.
Those Cocks laid it on those Aggies. Ole, Ole Miss was number. It's too early for Monday morning jokes and humor. Number 17 is Iowa. Number 18, Army. Army. Can you believe it? Army.
Mm-hmm.
Number 19 is Clemson. Number 20 is Washington State, which is those Huskies. Number 21, Colorado, Dion Prime. They're moving up the ranks. They're moving up the ranks. You know, I love Prime. He's a rebel, but a good rebel. He's really turned his life around. He really does.
A
But
rebel with the cause.
yes, I just he a lot of you either love him or you hate him. Most people are not in the middle when it comes to Dion. They're really not. But he is just so competitive and he's so keep it real. I mean, he just cracks me up. But okay, I'll get off my soapbox about prime time. Number 22 is Kansas State. Number 23 is Pittsburgh. Number 24 is Vanderbilt. And number 25 is Louisville. And guess what? Oklahoma. We just went through the list.
And still on it, even though they won.
Girl, even and I said it out loud, even though they won. But who did we play? Let's be real. It was not, it was Maine, I believe. Like it was I'm glad we got the experience. I'm glad we got the W. That's what I'll say. Okay, what about what's going on in hockey?
So, hockey, we've officially played a month of actual in-season games. Dallas just finished the Global Series, and unfortunately, we did not win those two games against Florida, which is it sucks, but also knowing going in that Florida Panthers are last season's Stanley Cup champions. So we knew it was going to be a fight. It was really cool though because there were seven Finnish players playing in front of like their hometown crowd.
That's cool.
It
That's
is.
cool.
It's really cool. Even with the loss, I still think it's a great experience for these guys to go out and play in part of this global series. Um, and then since we've managed to play a whole month of hockey, just a couple October NHL stats, um, fans showed out for their teams. And what I mean by that is teams played at about 96 capacity in their arenas, which is tied for the second highest mark in October over the last 24 years.
Wow.
The highest was in 2016, 27 at just 97%. So it's up there. So it is crazy. Fans are showing up and showing out for these games, which is great for the game to continue
Right.
to grow.
Yeah.
And then Four Nations face off is less than four
That's
months
us 4
away.
months away, right?
Yep, 4 months away, less than 4 months in February. And also, I realized in the episode, not last episode, but the previous one before that, I said it started on February 2nd. It starts February 12th. It's February 12th to the 20th. I was like, they are not playing 18 days of these games. Um, so I apologize. That's my
Oh,
mistake.
10 day. You were 10 days ahead of yourself.
I was 10 days ahead of myself. But because it's for less than 4 months away, the six skaters that have been named to Canada's team so far, because they haven't named their rosters just yet. They've had about six from each one. They those six players have had the most points this season, um, ahead of the six named to the US and Sweden and the five named to Finland. So a little worried, because these Canadians might actually win.
They might actually win their game.
But we'll see. Well, I'm hoping that the six like more players of the rosters will be announced here soon. Because it's just like kind of like chomping at the bits to see who's gonna be on these teams. There's a lot of projections for these rosters.
Right.
But no set rosters just yet. And then also I don't know why I didn't mention this last episode because it happened earlier last week. The PWHL, Professional Women's Hockey League,
Oh yeah,
still so stinking cool to say that, announced that they will be adding two new teams as early as the 2025-2026 season.
that's awesome.
So we're gonna go from six professional women's hockey teams to
To 8.
eight in less
That
than a
is so,
year.
so cool. That's really, really cool.
Yeah.
It's really cool to see women across the board at
Hmm.
all levels, at all types of, and we can talk about it even in our field,
Yeah.
to see people breaking glass
Barriers.
ceilings
Yeah.
and kind of paving their way into the into the sports world,
Yeah.
from reporters to front office staff to
Athletes
yeah, to
themselves.
athletes. It's just, I know for me and I know for you, and we both each have our own stories, but for me it just makes me realize that if you really enjoy something and you just learn it and try to find ways to incorporate it into who you are and vice versa,
Hmm.
how it just, you get to engulf yourself in the sports world that is male dominated,
Yes.
especially the football world. You know this. You and
Yes.
I both know that we are the pepper to the salt, per se, because there's not a lot of females in the
Yes. In the fields.
yeah,
Yeah.
in the thing. So congratulations to the women's hockey league. I
Yeah.
like it.
There have been some bids, but nothing has been said quite yet, and I don't think we're gonna get anything until probably early
Do we
next
know what
year.
states or anything?
Mm-mm.
Cities?
They've like the organization has talked to I think a couple of different contenders, but at this time there's no like solid
Oh,
guess
I love it.
um of who's gonna be the next two states to represent the women in the PWHL. And I'm gonna take a wild guess and probably it's we won't get it until early next year. Um,
Mm.
and then we'll
I
go
could
from
totally
there.
see you in women's hockey as a sports person, doing their doing like
Yeah.
you did before with the Tritons,
Hmm.
and being on the social media side of it for a women's soccer team. I could totally, or women, well, women's
Hockey.
soccer team as
Oh yeah.
well, but especially for a hockey, because you do like hockey and
Yeah.
that is your favorite. Granted, you like to look at the men, and that's okay too. But I could totally see you vibing with a women's professional
Oh,
hockey team.
100%.
You know what I mean? Like, I totally see you giving your own little flair to it, right?
Yeah.
You'd be like, okay, I don't want to get hit in the teeth with, we ain't trying to
No,
mess up my face or
literally.
anything. Yeah.
Although I have been in high school, I was the editor for the yearbook. And so I still covered some sports. And so I covered baseball one time and I got hit smack in the arm with a baseball and I wanted to cry. Thankfully, like the coaches and players were like very like, "Are you okay?" And I'm like, "No, it's fine." It's like as I'm like over there holding in tears because I'm like, I can't cry in front of these guys. Like, but it ended up I mean, it happens.
That is funny. Well, shout out to our friend Amy over at the Hooks. She actually got to make a call. She got to call
For the
the
javelinas. Yeah, I
oh
saw
my
that.
gosh, I we have not had a chance to catch up yet, her and I personally, one on one
Hmm.
yet. And so if she listens to this, because I know that she does listen to us, but when she listens to this, if I don't get to you, Amy, before you get to me, let's I want to hear all about it because I was so excited for her.
Yes, I saw that. That's so stinking cool.
Yes, yes. And okay, if you don't know what we're talking about, Amy is a personal friend of the show. We both know her. She does college. I mean, she calls sports. So she calls the Hooks games. She calls the Islander games. Is that right?
I think so.
Uh, she does all of this really cool job in the sports industry. She's been named and gotten a bunch of awards. She's probably going to be so embarrassed that I'm telling all this, but she got to call the college football game this weekend,
Yeah, at Kingsville, A&M,
at
A&M Kingsville.
Kingsville, that Big Frank usually calls. But she got to, and she shared it on social media, and I could just feel the excitement for her. So I was
Yeah,
really,
no,
really
definitely very cool. Um,
girl
Real quick,
power.
really, and we're gonna talk more about girl power here shortly, but we're just gonna hear one quick message from our sponsor. Want to know what's going on in Corpus Christi? Make sure you check out cceventscalendar.com. That holds all of the events going on for the entire month. New are added daily. And again, that is cceventscalendar.com. Okay, so this is the time that we typically do like a mental health moment, and I feel like this is still in regards to mental health, but more so in the fact that I wanted to talk about women in sports because I feel like that's a whole conversation category in itself. Um, and so I kind of want to talk about working it, playing it, being a fan of it, all of the fun stuff. So obviously we are both women in sports. The fact that we work in it. Um, First of all, we work in a male-dominated career.
Mm, mm,
So that right there is stressful, in a sense of one, you have to prove yourself, I feel, not only to your bosses. Two, in our case, we had coaches that I feel like I had to prove myself one because I was obviously much younger than everybody else. Obviously, they if they ever hear that, they are probably going to be mad at me for saying that because they were not that much older than me. But um, I was the younger one, so I had to prove myself to you first of all because you were essentially kind of my superior, and then I had to prove myself to three to four
ownership. Yep.
coaches, and then I had to prove to myself to the owners that, hey, like you are taking a huge chance on me. Um, I don't want to F it up, and I want to show you exactly why I was the best choice for this, which I feel like I did.
Yep.
I feel like I held my ground in some cases.
Yep.
Um, so being
But
women in
that's the thing
sports,
is, you as women, we have to hold our ground to an
exactly.
extent, and it comes heavier. Sometimes it comes, I think, across all professions, but really in the female in the profession that we're in with sports, from
Hmm.
our perspective, is that it comes across brash or demanding, or
Hmm.
questioning of authority, when it's really like, no, women are nurturers by nature, and they want to
Hmm.
always fix, you know what I mean? And so
Hmm.
yeah, there is that, having to prove, and then when you start prove, and then you start in your own mind as a female questioning, okay, what am I even doing? Or am I doing this
Yeah.
right? Or, oh my gosh, I don't want to make somebody mad or angry or whatever. So yeah.
Yes.
Sure.
So that right there is stressful and
Yeah.
can induce anxiety and all of that with it. Thankfully, I feel like me personally, I obviously can't speak for you. I had a great relationship with the coaches, and
Mm,
'cause obviously we worked directly with the coaches more than ownership. I worked more with coaches than the ownership. You probably worked a pretty even amount with both.
mm-hmm.
Um, and they were brilliant to work alongside. I am grateful for them because I feel like I learned a lot from them in regards to like one, the arena football world, which
Mm-hmm.
that's a whole other situation. Never been a part of that, never did football,
Mm-hmm.
anything. So I was really stepping out
Yeah.
um
Oh,
of
me
my
too.
comfort
As
zone.
much as I love football, me too. I was stepping out into a sport that I knew nothing about. I mean,
Hmm.
obviously, I knew the basics and the foundation, but
Yeah.
yeah,
So
that was new.
working with that um and like I said, not every woman in sports gets that relationship,
Mm-hmm.
whether it is with their leaders, the coaches, the players, whatever. Thankfully, for my first job in this, I got very, very lucky
Yeah.
with all of the men in the organization, which
Right.
is not always said.
Okay. Right. Right. And that, and me too. I mean, that was regardless that whether although I'm not with them anymore, that was
Hmm.
an example that I got to walk away with because I got that experience at the
Hmm.
leadership level of ownership as well as the coaches that
Hmm.
knew the game and could teach me the ins and the outs of what I
Hmm.
didn't know. So a lot of women, when they're making their way into it, they don't get to go all the way up all the way up to the top first. They
Hmm.
start at the very, very bottom and work their way to even build those type of relationship or networking opportunities with the coaches, and building those relationships to
Hmm.
stand as women so that we're not looking stupid or dumb. I
Hmm.
also know that that helped me transition into being offered another position with another organization because
Yes.
I did have that foundation of leadership and ownership that I could bounce off them and they could bounce off me. And as
Yeah.
women in the sports industry, that is the one thing I would probably encourage most women to try to get into, and that is to get into the doors or sit at the tables with those gentlemen. For you and I, those
Hmm.
dinners that we shared a lot of meals
Hmm.
with, and a lot of ideas
Lots.
with, and a lot of crazy discussions
Hmm.
over where's the beef and chicken
Yep.
and eat more
Yep.
chicken and what kind of pizza are we doing tonight and all of those things. Those are part of the foundations of building a winning team. And as females
Hmm.
in a male dominated sports world, we
Yes.
need to be able to have those connections. And that
Agreed.
I can say I'm truly blessed that with my new organization, I have that same thing. It takes a phone call, a couple of calls, and boom, we're all on the same page.
Yes.
And so I like that, and women need to, because we're already feel inferior to men in the sports world.
Exactly.
Let's just be real. No matter how strong any of us want to act or be, we still do not feel
Like we belong.
like we belong, right? Because we're just a girl. We're just,
Eh, I'm just a girl.
I'm just a
Yeah.
girl.
No.
So,
Yeah. And I think that's kind of what like the biggest hardship I feel like is being in kind of like a not a what's the word? Uh man, I lost my train of thought.
well, I think but it also transitions this, I can say this part of it, that being in the sports world is also a lot like for women that are in a male dominated world, like industry here in the community, or where it's male dominated, right? And so
Hmm.
not having always having those opportunities, it does make it more difficult and it increases anxiety and stress, and that's where the
Hmm.
fumbles come in. I can remember on game days, me and you being stressed the hell out
Hmm.
because one or both or whatever forgot something, and it's like, okay, but
Or yeah, or you have
y'all
people
need
asking last minute for things.
to. Yes. So, yeah, I mean, it's definitely a different world as females in male dominated
Yes.
um,
And then I was
spaces.
trying to find the tweet that I saw, because again, being a female in a male-dominated sport,
Oof, yeah.
there are people who think that women are only there to look at the players, or the coaching staff, or whatever. And that's just not true.
Or that they have to sleep their way to the top. That
Yes.
too is not true.
Yes. And so women in sports are there to work something that they love, whether
Mhm.
it is reporting, whether it's game day analyzing, whether it's operations, whether it's front office, whether it's social media, marketing, whatever.
Mhm.
We are not there to find a boyfriend or a husband or a side piece or whatever you want to call it. We are there because we have,
Sancho. We call him
you're right,
Sancho.
you're right. Sorry,
Giannis had
Sancho.
a couple.
Sorry,
Yeah.
sorry.
Yes.
Um, we are there to do a job that we are really passionate about.
Hmm.
And so for me, like that, like, okay, yes, obviously I've talked about it. Some of these hockey players, great looking. Yes, but as a person, probably will not ever work for the team that I find an attractive player on. Um, just because that honestly that ruins my fun because that's half the fun of watching the game. But also I like the game, and that's another thing is when we're talking about women watching sports, that's a whole other conversation. And I'm gonna go left. It is okay to find a player attractive. It is okay if that is the only reason you watch a game. Because guess what? You might find one player attractive, which means you might watch them play a game. Which means, okay, well, I kind of like this game. Let me watch another. Oh, well, this team's not doing great. Let me go see what this team's doing. Oh, now you're watching, two, three teams. Oh, I like the sport, which it all correlates. Yes, by all means, men are attractive. Like, whatever. Especially the players that are, well, I guess for me, like built good, but that doesn't just like that's not a reason to justify me liking the sport. I guess what I'm trying to say is like, yes, I can find a player attractive, but also I like the game. And I think that's something that men don't realize. Um, and that is just my PSA. A woman can find a
Well,
player attractive and watch the game.
and according to Aspen Institute State of Play 2023, the participation rate of girls in sports is at its highest rate since 2013. And as girls mature, engaging in sports, it not only offers physical benefits, but it also contributes significantly to their overall well-being and success in various aspects of life. So
Yeah.
it is important for us to encourage participation and sticking with sports long term. And for me, I mean, even at a leadership level within a football organization, it helps me grow and it helps me significantly in my physical number one, physical, because I do try to make myself take care of myself more because I'm
Hmm.
obviously in a sport in which people are fit for the most part, right? And I
Hmm.
mean, we're not looking at a lot of dad bods except in the fan side, right?
Yeah.
So and then but also with that it also it creates habits into other
Hmm.
aspects of my life because you have to create habits in general. As an athlete, there's habits that have to be followed, whether that's eating habits, sleeping habits, training habits, lifting habits, whatever habits. So
Yeah.
being a girl in sports on either side of
Hmm.
sports, it does help us in our day to day.
Yeah, and obviously we've been talking a lot about working in sports, but also just playing in sports. The w um women playing sports has risen. Like that's just a fact. Um, but and then on the sort of like numerical side, like if you want analysts and facts or whatever, in regards to why women should play sports, according to the Women's Sports Foundation, high school female athletes are 92% less likely to get involved with drugs and 80% more likely to graduate compared to the non-athletic counterparts. The longer girls play sports, the more likely it is for them to succeed in activities outside of sports.
Mm-hmm.
So the more women get involved in sports, whether it's watching, playing, working in it, it's just better for the community, and better for whatever sports, whether it is hockey or soccer or football, baseball, basketball, tennis, golf, whatever sport, you want to name. And also, like, just I guess gonna have to wrap this up really quick.
Mhm.
I went on a rant there, so I apologize. Um,
Girl, it's girl talk, sports talk. We get to do what we want because we're girls. But I do want to throw this out real quick because I know that we do have to go. But
mhm,
research is consistently showing highlights. Oh my goodness, the various benefits of sports for girls, including self-esteem, resilience, leadership skills, and you know this by the women that
mhm.
we talk to on those
Those
calls.
interviews.
Yeah, on
Yeah,
those interviews where they're doing 999 things and we're both looking at each other like, what in the heck? It's
yeah.
better for mental health. They surveyed over 1,000 women professionals aged 18 and over. It found that 85% of women who play sports said the skills they developed playing sports were important to success in their professional careers. I believe that because why? They gain the habits.
They gain the habits. Also, just to leave one final thought, women have always belonged in sports. The rest of the world is just catching up. So there's that.
There is that. I love it. I love it. I love it. So, no hot topic. We don't have time for hot topic today, obviously, because we've been ranting and raving about girl sports. But I will say, I don't know if you can see it, but Harrisburg Stampede is representing. I got some shirts instead of bills. I was very happy to get this weekend. So that's always a good thing when you get stuff. I know you always get packages because I know you're an Amazon and a Temu shopper.
I
Um,
am.
and what's the other one?
No, it's literally just
Sheen.
Timo.
Oh,
Oh,
okay.
I don't shop at Shein.
Okay,
I
good.
don't fit into any of their clothes is the problem.
Girl, yeah, I don't even try. I don't even try. But
Um,
so no hot topic today, but what happened in today in sports?
in 1987,
Oh,
the NBA announces four new franchises, which is on par with the PWHL announcing two new expansion teams. It was Charlotte and Miami in 1988, and Minneapolis and Orlando in 1989.
the Orlando Magic, is that what we're talking about?
If
Yep.
that's the NBA name,
Yep. The Orlando. Wow, since 89.
yeah,
That's
that's a
crazy.
baby. I feel like
It
that's
is
a
35.
baby.
That's
Okay,
35.
that's a baby.
No, ma'am.
Yes.
No. Once you hit
Yes.
30, that's the next, you're going to the next level,
Okay.
girl.
Okay. We don't need to bring that up. As always,
All
if you like
right.
it.
Well, I know this week is a busy week. It's the first week of November, technically. And so the big thing is tomorrow, exercise your right to vote. Whatever
Hmm.
that is, make it your voice heard. Don't be complaining on social media if you don't take the time to go and
And
add your
vote.
2 cents. And add your 2 cents.
All right.
Um, gotta go.
Um, Gotta go vote. And as always, if you like listening to us, make sure you sorry, I have like a frog in my throat. Um, like and subscribe to us on YouTube and then like and follow us on Spotify. This is Michaela.
This is Melina.
And remember, sports are for girls too.
Whoop whoop.